What's going on, y'all? I'm JD PicKell. Today on the Hard Count, we're going to be ranking Baylor's schedule from least difficult game to most difficult game. That's coming up right after the bumper. Let's get right into it. Texas Southern is your 12th most difficult game on the schedule because it's Texas Southern. It's at home. Do we need to say anything else? Okay, number 11 most difficult game is going to be at Texas State. Okay, it's in San Marcos, which is kind of strange for a team like Texas State to get Baylor at home. But hey, what are you going to do? I think Baylor should still handle that game pretty easily. Number 10 most difficult game on the schedule is going to be Kansas. Okay, you got to go to Kansas. I think Coach Leipold's the right guy for that team long term. I think he's going to be successful eventually, but this season, Kansas is going to Kansas, right? Okay, it's still this Kansas team that Baylor beat the brakes off of a year ago. Baylor should pick up where they left off and get through those first three games relatively unscathed. Now, your number 9 most difficult game of the season is going to be West Virginia. Now, West Virginia was a team that beat Baylor a season ago in Morgantown, and the special teams looked bad. The offense looked bad, which was foreshadowing of things to come. The offensive line really looked bad, which was unfortunate, but we kind of started to see the writing on the wall there. And the John Lovett touchdown got robbed. That was probably the weirdest deal to me of the early season for Baylor. So I think Baylor has this game circled on their calendar. Again, they get West Virginia at home, which I think is a big deal and is a very winnable game, if you ask me. Moving on to your number 8 most difficult game on the schedule, Texas Tech. On senior day, no less. You don't lose on senior day, okay? That's just a thing. You don't lose on senior day. Texas Tech, I'm not too concerned about any of the pieces they have in place. Tyler Shaw is the reason why I have them a little bit ahead of West Virginia in terms of difficulty. Sometimes with grad transfer quarterbacks, it's just a matter of fit. So, I mean, we saw Joe Burrow, what he did at LSU. Now, Tyler Shaw is not Joe Burrow, okay? Don't get it twisted. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm leaving just a little bit of a door open for him to potentially do some good things, but I'm not super concerned. Number 7 most difficult game on the schedule. This might surprise some folks. BYU on homecoming, okay? Baylor took their offensive line coach, took their offensive coordinator, and they're going to take this game, all right? So BYU, we don't know who's playing quarterback for them yet. It's sure not Zach Wilson, which is going to be a big deal if you're a Baylor fan. Going to be a ruckus crowd. Hopefully that there's 100% capacity. I like Baylor's chances in that game. I really, really do. Number 6, you got to go on the road to play Kansas State. Now, Kansas State, a team that Baylor played a year ago and was the only legitimate win, to be honest with you. I mean, they beat them in the rain, which probably gave Baylor the advantage, honestly. But Manhattan's a tough place to play. I mean, truthfully, that's why I have it at number 6. I don't think Baylor should lose to them, but just going to Manhattan, Kansas, it's a tough deal, all right? That's the bottom line. That's why I have it where I have it. Number 5 most difficult game is going to be at Oklahoma State. Similar to Kansas State, it's a tough place to play, man. Like, nobody wants to go into Stillwater. It hasn't always been kind to Baylor. Spencer Sanders is so streaky, man. I don't know if it'll be good Spencer Sanders or bad Spencer Sanders who shows up, but I really think that if it's good Spencer Sanders, that could be problems for Baylor. I don't foresee them having too many issues talent-wise. This was the Oklahoma State team that destroyed Baylor in their season finale a year ago. I think that was more to do with Baylor's psyche than anything. But all things considered, Stillwater's the reason why that's a tough place to play, and then the unpredictability of what Spencer Sanders could be. Moving on, your 4th most difficult game of the season for Baylor is going to be at TCU. Now, a couple reasons why this is. TCU in Fort Worth is really a tough place to play. And Gary Patterson teams just always have a great defense. That's just the reality of it. They're going to be strong defensively. They're going to make Baylor show what they have on offense. We're going to really find out a lot about this team and just how good they are offensively. And I think that's going to be a real put-up or shut-up game for Baylor. So that game's going to be tough, especially because of the personnel that TCU is going to combat Baylor with. So that game makes me nervous. I have it at number 4 most difficult. I have Texas at number 3. Now, they get Texas off a bye week. They get Texas at home, which is crucial. But the reason why I'm so concerned about Texas, probably more so than the average Baylor fan, Steve Sarkisian's a great offensive mind. All right, I don't know if we're giving that enough credit. Steve Sarkisian, whatever you want to say about him as a head coach, he knows how to draw up offensive plays. All right, and Casey Thompson, if he is even close to what we saw him do in that bowl game, he's going to be really special. I think his upside is super, super high. And so he's a guy that you should be maybe a little bit concerned with if you're a Baylor fan going into this game. Not to say anything of Bijan Robinson, who I think is one of the most explosive players in the country. So I'm drinking the Texas Kool-Aid a little bit more than I think most Baylor fans are. I think that's a game to watch out for. Again, love that it's off a bye week. Now, your second most difficult game, no surprise here, it's going to be Iowa State. Now, you get Iowa State at home, but Brock Purdy coming back. I don't know if I'm necessarily sold on him, but what they ask him to do at Iowa State, he does really well. Now, don't forget, Baylor gave him a lot of problems, okay? A lot of problems last season in Ames. That was a game Baylor really could have won, but with them getting another year, kind of this being their put up or shut up year with Brock Purdy coming back, Breece Hall, he's the best back in the country. I don't know that there's much of an argument for anyone else. That's just my opinion. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And their defense is going to be good. What they do schematically gives teams problems. They like to prevent the big play, keep it all in front of them. And Baylor's going to try to push the ball more vertical this season. So that should be a good grudge match that we get to see in that game. And your number one most difficult game, it's a no-brainer, folks. The Oklahoma Sooners. Again, it's in Waco, which I love, but Spencer Rattler's already getting number one pick hype, and it's deserved. I mean, he's a guy that could be a Heisman candidate this time next year, when it's all said and done late in the season. They have so many weapons between Mims and Hazelwood. I mean, the Alex Grinch coach defense is going to be solid. Like, you just go down the roster, and they have a ton of talent. It'll be the most talented roster Baylor has to play this season. So I'm worried about that game the most. I think they're all winnable, as we saw what the Baylor defense was able to do to Spencer Rattler in Norman. But again, the talent of this team is going to be something that Baylor has to deal with. They're going to have to play a really efficient and really mistake-free game to be able to hang in there with Oklahoma. I think it's doable, but the offense has to be there in order for them to keep up with what Oklahoma is going to do, because they're going to score points. That's it for us here on this episode of The Hard Count. That is it for this second episode. I am loving what we're doing here. I'm loving that y'all are along for the ride. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, because you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on here at Sikkim 365 on the YouTube channel. Go ahead and stay tuned, and we will see y'all next time on The Hard Count.